going on. Let's get it going on. What's going on, y'all? Let me get this recording together. Let me get this thing recording the way it needs to record. All right. What's going on, man? How y'all living? Waiting on everybody to pop on in the room. I hope you guys are having a great Saturday so far. Usually don't go on this early on Saturday, but damn it, here I am, ready to chop up some good game with the family. Hope you guys are having a great weekend so far. And I hope you guys are going to have a good holiday week. Ladies and gentlemen, what's up, Nikki the God? What's up, Nicety Girl? What's up, Dana? I see you. A few things we got to touch on today. Then I'm going to get some calls from the family. By the way, stay tuned. We're going to have an event at the Hidden History Museum in a few weeks. Trying to put that together. I'm going to keep people posted on that. So if you're in the LA area, you got to come on through. We had a good event last night. We had a private event. Some people had a birthday party, and it was a great event last night. Shout out to the people who came out last night. And we're going to have our own event at the museum with the comedy, food, and all that stuff. It's going to be a private event. We can do private events, meaning that people have to RSVP. We can't do walk-ins because there's some issues with the conditional use permits, as I explained before. But I digress. Let me get into some other stuff. A lot of things we got to touch on. And we're waiting on everybody to just get on in the room before we get deep into the topic. What's up, Afro Elite? And another thing, we're still thinking about going out to D.C. next year for the follow-up to the Rally for Reparations. We're still kicking the idea around. We're still doing some research because that's going to be a big task. If we do it, we're going to get started early with the promotion and the organizing of it because last year we only had a couple of weeks to get it organized and it popped off. So if we get a 4 or 5 month head start, it can really pop off. It's going to be a lot of work. So I'm going to keep people posted on what we're going to do as far as that. You know, we're still kicking the idea around, and a lot of folks want us to go back out there to DC and just make some noise about what we need as a group. You know, we need to really stomp heavy for the reparations. We got to stomp heavy for the crime bill. That's very important. So we have to beat that drum on a grassroots level. So I'm going to keep folks posted with that because, you know, we have to get the same kind of protections that everybody else is getting. And we are not getting those same protections. We're not getting equal protection under the law. When things happen to us, it gets brushed under the rug. If anything happens to other groups, it's all about stopping the presses and let's prioritize them and let's rectify their aggrievement. Whatever happened to them, let's promote and produce some compensatory justice for them. It's all about numbers. And with us, we just don't get any kind of protection. We don't get any kind of compensatory justice. Things happen to us and it just gets brushed under the rug. And that's like the situation with the museum, with the vandalizing that we've had go on. We get a lot of splaining and babbling. Whereas other groups, if you have people vandalizing their institutions that's upholding their culture, it's stop the presses. There's a hate crime. Let's do something about hate. Stop Asian hate. Stop Jewish hate. Stop Native American hate. It's all about stopping the hate. With us, when we say, hey, we're getting the same type of recurring similar hate crimes, well, it's like, well, we don't know. Well, what we got to see what the graffiti says. Well, you know, that area is kind of high gang activity. You know, we get a bunch of splaining. They don't splain for other groups. These groups don't get the splaining. If something happens to an Asian business repeatedly, they don't say, well, you know, you do have the Asian mafia. You know how they get, Yeah, you know, there's been some illegal activity in the back room of this place. You know, we heard y'all been giving reach arounds and happy endings. Things happen. You don't see that. It's stop Asian damn hate immediately off top. None of that splaining and babbling that we get. And also, what's interesting, man? Because and shout out to Nikki the God. I sent Nikki some more pictures of the suspects who vandalized our spot, and I pointed this out. Those dudes who came and vandalized the spot last time, because we've been vandalized repeatedly. These dudes had some tags that were untraceable. We done had all types of private investigators run those tags. Those tags don't exist. You know what kind of cars have tags that you can't pull up? Undercover. They use those untraceable tags for a lot of undercover cars. Y'all look that up. Y'all look that up. Police use those kind of cars for undercover stings, dude. Think about that. When the police got some kind of undercover situation going on, they know somebody might try to look up something to try to get a name on somebody. Some of those untraceable tags, there's a special database that they keep them under, where even regular police can't even access them. This is what I'm learning. So some of these tags that's untraceable, these are like special tags within law enforcement that you got to get a special clearance to even access. That's why several people have been trying to get a hit on those tags of those suspects, and nothing is coming up. So many people suspect, and I'm one of them, that that was some kind of undercover car that might have been associated with law enforcement. They do stuff like that, Law enforcement, they keep people on the payroll to do a lot of dirty work for them to keep their hands clean. That's why they've been splaining so damn much. But I digress. Um, Now, I saw something with Charlemagne the God. Shout out to Charlemagne and the Breakfast Club and those guys. Somebody asked Charlemagne about why Trump is getting so much black support. A lot of people are seeing that a lot of people are warming up to Trump. A lot of black people. A lot of black people are warming up to Trump. And now they're trying to explain why. They're trying to explain why so many black people, I don't know if it's a lot, but there's a significant number of black people kind of warming up to Trump to see what he has to say. So when they see these kind of numbers, they got to kind of put a spin on it. The white left wing media, they got to immediately go out here and put a spin on that. So they were interviewing Charlemagne. And they asked Charlemagne, why do you think so many black people are kind of gravitating and supporting Trump? And Charlemagne said, well, he thinks it's all about the stimulus checks. Black folks got $1,200 stimulus checks and Trump's name and face was all on it. And a lot of black folks were like, hell, this is something. And Trump gave us something. So that's why black people are kind of supporting him. And I respectfully say, I don't think that's accurate. I think that narrative came from Sexy Red. Yeah, that narrative came from Sexy Red. Remember, she did an interview and somebody interviewed her. She was like, yeah, I like Trump. They're like, why you like Trump? Trump gave us money. He gave us a check. So I think somebody at the DNC, they said, hey, let's roll with that narrative that black people are just stupid as shit, like Sexy Red, and that $1,200 check made their stupid asses want to support Trump. I think they're running with that narrative, putting us all in the Sexy Red category of just a bunch of dumb niggas. You can flick us a crumb and we're like, oh, thank you so much. No, that's not it. I don't think that's it. No, that's not it. I think a lot of people are listening to what Trump has to say in the black community. They're now listening to him because Trump doesn't have all outright contempt for black society like the Democrats are showing. The Democrats are just showing open contempt at this point. You dig? The Republicans know how to be covert with it. At least they have the decorum to be covert. With the Democrats, they're just being blatant. They're like, hey, black people, here's a bunch of immigrants in your neighborhood. What? And we're asking for money. Hey, give us some of the tax dollars. So, first of all, we're owed. Give us some of the money we're owed for building the damn country. Oh, we ain't got no money. But here's a gazillion dollars for these illegal immigrants that we're dumping in your community. So now we magically have money. We magically have job programs. We magically have housing for these people while you're laying out in the street homeless, while you're struggling. We're magically clearing all of their old debt. That's another thing that Black people have to understand. When these folks come over, they have laws and bills now where you can't discriminate against them as far as their credit. You can't use their credit against them. They're letting the credit. I got an article I got to show you guys. I probably show it on my broadcast tomorrow. But yeah, they sent out a memo to the credit reporting agencies, like an illegal immigrant. If they come over here, you can't give them janky credit scores based on them being illegal immigrants. That's another thing that we overlook. So you got these folks who sit here and point the finger at us about how they got it popping and they came over with $2 and they had nothing and worked themselves up by the bootstraps. What they don't tell you is what we're seeing now, and this has always been the case. There's programs from our tax dollars that assist them. They're being underrode with these financial incentives. They have a financial bed. They come over here, get all types of tangible resources that we can't even tap into. And also, their credit is wiped clean. You come over here, not only your credit is clean, you come over here, get a new name, new social security card. Just imagine you're a 30, 40-year-old person and all of your old credit is wiped clean, all of your debt. So now all the mistakes you made, that's got charged to the game. So now you can start over fresh. That's what's happening with these folks now. They come over here, all the janky stuff they did back home, all of the child support, whatever, the jail record, the felonies they got back home. They cross that border, all that stuff gets erased on paper. It gets erased. So now you get a whole new line of credit and you get shit popping. Yeah. And then turn around and say, hey, son, damn, what's wrong with y'all? I did it. I came over here with nothing. Look at me. Well, yeah, look at you. And look at what was provided for you. Yeah. So that type of contempt coming from the Democrats, allowing that to happen, and then they're sending out people trying to shame us because we're not jumping into the conflict of other people. This open contempt where all of these left wingers are trying to shame us because we're not supporting these foreign wars that we have nothing to do with. They're showing open contempt towards us, and we're like, this Democrat thing, this ain't working. This ain't working at all. And them pointing the finger at how bad the Republicans are. Well, we're looking at, well, the Republicans ain't doing what y'all doing, just overtly crapping on us after we supported you. Because we haven't really supported Republicans like that, but we've supported all the Democratic policies, and they've done nothing but show contempt. So people are looking for different options. Now, I say I'm not on board with the Republicans. I'm not on board until they start giving some tangibles specifically for us. You got to be, it's a tangible thing for me. I'm not going to support you unless there's some tangibles on the table. When I mean support, I mean give a real endorsement. But us getting away from a lot of the Democrat rhetoric, some people think that that might be a proxy form of support for the Republicans, and that you can take it however you want. I'm not supporting anybody until they put some tangibles on the table. Then I give them a cosign. But from an indirect perspective, some of the Republican policies actually work better for us. And I'm just talking about from a secondary gain standpoint. Because with the immigration thing, the Republican policies work better for us. The right wing policies work a little better to a certain degree. When it comes to education and in the schools, now there's some, like in Florida is a mess because they're trying to take Black history all the way out of school in places like Florida. But what the right wingers are doing, they're getting a lot of the grooming stuff up out of these schools, which is very important because we get targeted for that heavy. So again, there's some secondary indirect benefits to it, but nothing for us to really stomp hard for the Republicans and niggas out here running around with MAGA hats and all that. No, yeah, no, we ain't trying to stomp like that until they come to the table with something tangible. Now, Trump did some very strategic things when he got out of office on his way out last time. He did something very strategic, and it worked. It resonates when he started getting a lot of folks out of jail. You got Lil Wayne, Harry O, Kodak Black, and that resonated. Even that little gesture, which was a chess move, but it was a cool chess move. Yeah, because the Democrats don't do stuff like that. They try to finesse us into jails. So him letting out some high profile black people, that resonated. That really resonated with a lot of people. But my thing is, unless they come to the table with some real tangibles, they got to say, hey, this is what we're going to give you specifically. And I don't want to hear about nobody can't do anything because you got all of these immigrant groups over here and they're getting the red carpet rolled out for them. Nobody's saying, where's the money going to come from? Where's this money? Hey, I didn't have any slaves back in their home country. I didn't do that. You don't have that kind of talk. People don't have a problem with that. But when it comes to us getting tangibles, we're supposed to be designated on the bottom rung and we're supposed to not get anything. And it's up to us to change that narrative. It's up to us to say enough is enough with that narrative. We're going to have a new narrative. And us being on the bottom rung of the totem pole in the racial pecking order, that's not going to be something that we just accept. We have to say enough is enough. Now, let me get some calls in here because we got a lot of folks in the building on this lovely Saturday. All right, let's get important thoughts. All right, important thoughts, and then we'll get Levante in. Important thoughts and Levante. All right, let's get Levante in since important thoughts. His phone ain't working right. Levante, hop on, man. Now, what's wrong with y'all niggas' phone today, man? I hate when cats try to get on and y'all slow the whole vibe down by not unmuting yourself. Levante, are you good? Raise your hand if you're good. If you're not, I'm gonna take you off the thing. All right, dude. Y'all niggas be wasting time. That's why women be leaving y'all for zaddies. At least zaddy pick them up on time. Y'all niggas just be bullshitting. All right, let me get y'all out of here. All right, let's Chicago. Hop on, man. All right, Chicago. Unmute your microphone, Chicago. All right.
Okay, I'm right here.
There you go, man. How are you, brother?
I'm all right, brother. Um,
What's on your mind?
I just want to say that I don't think it's black people supporting Trump per se. I think it's men means supporting the idea of conservative and researching what the Republican Party initially was. Right? We not. I'm not asking nobody to see things the way I see them because I'm living as a collective in the community, right? I'm more so less worried about the family integrity, the lineage, the legacy, right?
Yeah,
Um, Shout out to you for putting that out there and reawakening that with the hidden colors, right?
yeah.
Because that brought a lot of clarity to a lot of young cats, right? I'm 41. I'm an older gentleman, so
Hmm.
um, when my nephews and my nieces come to me and they ask me certain things now, I took it all the way to TikTok. I got it busting on there. So what we saying is we support certain values in the Republican Party, right? That benefit
Right,
us.
right, right.
This about resources. I'm gonna land my plane.
There you go, man. Thank you so much, brother. I appreciate you. All right, let's get let me see, who's this? RBG Duke of Pan Africanism.
Back it again with by popular demand. Yo, what do you think about Dr. Cornel West?
Cornell, he says some good things, but what is he talking about as far as tangibles? He starts kind of all lives mattering a lot of stuff. So I haven't heard him say anything specifically about what we need to get.
Is it possible that a black candidate can run on solely black issues?
Well, you can prioritize a black issue just like they prioritize Asian issues. See, this whole thing where it's going to offend the white people, we got to get people past that threshold of being fearful, because if we say, okay, we don't want him to offend the white people, we'll let him do it covertly, they'll never get to it. We did that with Obama. We were like, we were splaining for Obama. We were like, well, he can't say it overtly, but on the low, Obama's going to open up the door and do a whole bunch of shit. He didn't do nothing. So we're going to have to let these people, they got to come and say exactly what they going to do specifically for black people. We ain't doing none of that guessing game. We hope you're going to do it. We going to talk in code. Wink, wink. Nah, say exactly what you're going to do. We have to stop letting people make us be like a dirty little secret where if you do something for us, it's such a bad thing. No, we have to make that acceptable. We are citizens of this country. We've had a specific type of aggrievement, and that has to be rectified and it has to be compensated for, right?
So Cornel West has spoken outwardly about repair about in the black community. He's also said things that are very radical that no other black candidate has ever said, like free Jamil Alameen. I get how people are rallying behind new ideologies and moving away from the Democratic Party because they haven't prioritized black issues, but we have a black candidate right now. Although, yes, a lot of people can make the case of him all lives mattering, but he has always been philosophical about peace around the world. Now, when you're talking about Dr. Cornel West himself, why are you, a person with a big platform, not taking a bigger look into his presidential run in 2024?
There's a whole bunch of people running. I'm just looking for whoever's talking about something specifically for us. Then I'm going to take a look at him. There's no reason for me to take a look at him because he hasn't said anything specifically about what he's going to do for foundational black Americans.
Yeah, he has actually talked about a anti-black hate bill before. So, are you going to take a look into his platform?
What did he say about an anti-black hate bill?
That they should be an anti-black hate bill. He said that on his last interview, actually.
Okay, I didn't hear it. So this is what I need to learn. I want to hear what he's saying about that, and I want to see the wording of it, and put that in the
Oh,
right.
definitely. So, Cornell West 2024. Make sure you guys, everyone in the space, go ahead and check out his platform.
Now, did he put this in writing? Is that on his website that you just said that he said we should have an anti?
No, it's not. It's not on his website.
What interview was he on where he said this?
It was a podcast. I can't remember the guy's name, but it was a podcast,
Okay,
and they interviewed him on that podcast.
okay. I'll look into it. I'll look and see what he has to say. All right, thank you. But yeah, I haven't
And
heard that. I haven't heard it. And I don't have a problem with Cornel West, but Cornel West gets to all lives mattering a lot. And then well, we got to talk about the poor people. The poor people is out here, and the poor, okay, all right. Yeah, we've heard that before. So I don't want to hear the same thing over and over again. It's time to talk about us. What's up, different? I saw different hitting the thumbs down. What's up, different?
Hey Tyree. Hey Tariq.
Hi.
Like I kind of wanted to go a little bit off the subject about your new documentary a little bit.
Yeah, go ahead.
I wanted to ask, I wanted to ask about DJ Smokey. I wanted to see because I think he's still alive. I was trying to see if you're willing to try to get a few more people on your documentary. Except you say you're gonna try to don't I don't really know the specific date that you're gonna release your documentary, but I was trying to see, could you at least get the people that you said that you were trying to get on there? Like,
Yeah, we already wrapped principal photography. I've gotten a few calls today, even with people trying to get in it. Everybody and their mama wants to be in this documentary now. I done got calls. Everybody. Yeah, I done
mm,
talked to two people today where some people's trying to get in it every day now because the popularity. They know this thing is going to blow up. We talk about Smokey in the documentary, so I
okay.
was looking to reach out for him while we were filming. I couldn't get with him, but we have enough
He
information.
did an interview online. He did an interview actually
That,
talking about it on YouTube.
that was about 5 years ago or longer. It was about 5 years ago. Yeah,
Oh,
that's an
okay.
old interview
Know that.
that
I didn't know that.
yeah, that one of the brothers from the Cold Crush did with him. So, but
Okay.
again, we discuss him in the movie, and yeah, we're not filming any more people right now because we got to get the film finished. All right, we filmed enough people. The movie was hella long. I'm trying to cut it down to 2 hours because we're going in so heavy. So I'm trying to get it down to at least 2 hours or 2 hours and 30 minutes at the most. Because yeah, we had 4 hours of this stuff. We just going all the way in. But yes, it's a great piece. It's a real good piece. All right, let's get let me see. A lot of folks in here. Let's get Lou Fax. Lou Fax in here. What's up, Lou Fax?
Tariq, what up? Hey, so
What's going on, Lou?
I got a
Go
question.
ahead.
So just to the topic, right? So if you look at the highest GDP by state, right? California has the highest GDP, 3.5 trillion. Texas 2.1 trillion. New York 1.9 trillion. Florida. So three out of these four states is Democratic ran. So the fact that Black Americans are getting gentrified, because if you look at the most gentrified cities in America, majority of these places are all liberal cities. So the number one is San Francisco. So like from an economic standpoint, right? I'm trying to figure out what has the Democratic Party done for us, because if you look at in California, right, it was a black group that had the highest bid to buy the Crenshaw Mall, right,
Mm-hmm.
and then they denied us. And I'm in the weed industry, right, and I talked to you about this
Yeah.
before. And I've been growing since I was 17 in Cali. So I'll try to buy a dispensary, right? And my Armenian friend, they didn't have to go through the same loopholes that I had to go through because they knew
Right.
people in position of power. So like, they're literally economically fucking us over in these liberal cities. So how you feel about that?
Yeah, it's absolutely true. And let's get this straight. It ain't about them knowing people in positions of power. They just got the complexion for the protection. These people are white, and there's a white code. They look, man. You got people who come over here. These immigrant groups come over here. They're not getting run through the ringer with all of the damn permits and the hoops and the hurdles, and you got to pay all of these people off. They're not doing that to these folks because they don't have the money for it and they don't have the connections. They're just not black, and they're prioritizing these black folks over us. It's bad out here in LA. Like I said, when I went downtown to one of the permit offices, it's literally no black people in there at all, and that's by design. They get us on the paperwork, they get us on the permits out here, they get us on the zoning out here. They got all types of ways that they screw black owners over. And again, when we get the capital to get these things, they find other ways to undermine us. I know about the situation where they were trying to buy the Crenshaw Mall. Some black folks had more money than some of the white bidders, and they gave it to the white bidders anyway. Um, Same thing over there in Nipsey spot. The city was trying to get Nipsey out of that spot over there. He ended up buying that lot from the owner. Now the city, we had this. I'm talking about city officials. There's documents of them sending them the owners, the previous owners of that property, sending them information about getting Nipsey and those guys evicted from their location where the marathon store is. They were raiding them all the time. They had nuisance injunctions on them. They do that with black businesses all the time, and they don't do that with other businesses out there. With us, look, they got. vandals targeting our business with undercover license shit. They got us jumping through all types of conditional use permit hoops. So we got to understand when they gentrify, it's from top to damn bottom out here, man. These folks don't fuck around. And this is why we got to be as codified as we can be. I got to give a shout out to the black folks in Los Angeles. The only reason why we've been stable at the museum, the black people in Los Angeles, they've been phenomenal with the support. The support has been absolutely phenomenal from Black Los Angeles, man. That's why we've been able to keep our head above water. They've gone out of their way to support our venue, and because they know they know what it represents in the neighborhood. When you have, because we're like in that area, we're the only black owned business over there, literally. And it's not that black business owners are incompetent. We just get targeted like crazy out here in Los Angeles, man. It is insane. And yes, I've been thinking about going to other cities with it, possibly down in Atlanta. Yes, it would be better down in Atlanta, but I'm gonna stay here and fight as long as I can fight to keep our thing popping. And there's it's a big uphill battle, but it is what it is. All right, let me get some more folks in here because we got a lot of people in here. Let's get let me see, which Jeff is this? Okay, we got a few Jeffs. Is this, I don't know which Jeff this is. Is this jibber jabbering Jeff or the other
This
Jeff?
is the foundational white American, Jeff.
Oh, there you go. All
Yes,
right.
sir.
How you doing?
I'm great. How are you
FB
doing?
FWA Jeff.
Yes, sir. Foundational, funky white asses. Yep.
Right, yes indeed. I don't
Yep.
know what you're foundational to, but shout out to you. What's on your
Foundational
mind?
to Indiana. We settled this place. I mean,
Not really.
are you saying like northern states weren't like? I mean, you can make the argument of southern, or you can say the whole country, but you can't really say that like a place like Ohio wasn't like settled by whites.
Well, a lot of those northern states, a lot of those northern areas were settled by a lot of the black people who were living with the Native Americans, like Chicago, um, Buffalo, places like in Minnesota, a brother named Banga. He was a black Native American who was like one of the original settlers up there, and he did a lot of great things. So in Los Angeles, hell, where I am, it was some black people who were coming in from Mexico. There was a lot of black folks down there who settled Los Angeles. Francisco Reyes, who was a black person who was down there in Mexico, settled the San Fernando Valley. And then you had black women like Biddy Mason putting it down out here. So, our footprint and fingerprints are all over this country, sir. But go ahead.
Fair enough. But like if you see like a painting of like an 1800s painting of like white people meeting with Native Americans, and Native Americans are wearing the headdresses, most of them are not black. I mean, most of them look pretty, I would say brown. There might have been some black ones, different tribes, but I think not all of them are black. But anyway, um, I wanted to get to my main question. First of all, thank you for supporting, or not supporting, but being a little bit favorable towards President Trump. But I wanted to ask, because I do think there has been a sort of resurgence of black people that are sort of being more open to Republicans. And do you think that has anything to do with like the decline of the black church? Or also more broadly, do you think the decline of the black church is like a good or a bad thing? So on one hand, it provided a lot of like community stability, but it also like funneled a lot of people into like democratic politics, a black community.
No, and there's not a decline of the black church. I wouldn't say a decline, but I would say there's less of a political influence that the black church is having now. People are seeing the black church for what it is. You go in there for spiritual reinforcement, and then you leave, and then you take care of your political mindset somewhere else. I think a lot of us have stopped letting the black church act as a political vehicle because we saw how easily many of the preachers can be compromised. One of these politicians can just go in there with a couple of sweet potato pies and a check, and then the preacher is like, "Hey, y'all, look, Biden is here. Everybody give it up for Biden." So we are being a little more politically sophisticated to say, hey, we're not going to fall for that. We don't care how much they come up here and sing and dance in the church. What are they going to give to this community? We're not going to go for the symbolic gestures. So this is why we're saying, hey, they got to come with something tangible at this point.
I'm sure you've heard the stories about when Michael Bloomberg was running for mayor of New York. He was
Hmm.
struggling with the black. Sorry.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
I already know about
yeah, he
Bloomberg.
was
Yeah.
struggling with the black community, so he would just drop off $100,000, $50,000 checks at all the black churches. Then all of a sudden, he would get their endorsement out of nowhere. So definitely.
And what happened? He tried that, and I think he went down to Alabama. He went to a black church, and the people in the black church stood up and turned their backs on him and embarrassed them in front of the press. And then he had to drop out of the race immediately. So that let him know, hey, we still rock with the church. We just don't rock with your ass. So that was the message we were giving to them.
I one last thing. I really do think though that the black church and memberships. I mean, I've seen statistics which say the black church membership has declined a fair bit over the last 30 years. But it's declined. It's not just a black thing. It's a white thing. It's a Hispanic thing. It's an Asian thing. People aren't going to church as much as they used to, and you can say that there's some good parts of that, but there's also bad parts because that's a lot of like the backbone of the community. So
Hmm. Well, the thing is, people still go to church. It's not as traditional as it used to be. Church has become very corporatized, and also you have gospel concerts now. So there's the rise of the Kurt Franklins and the Mary Mary. So now, instead of going to church, you can just go to a concert, and that's like church to a certain degree. A lot of the gospel people have become somewhat mainstreamed, so it's kind of it's not that big of a deal. Tyler Perry, we got to understand his whole thing is church based. The Tyler Perry movie, you're basically going to a church program. So a lot of the black church information has become very mainstream now. So you don't have to go to church on a Sunday in order to get that vibe or that energy.
wasn't
But what about the white church?
what really quick? Wasn't Kirk Franklin the one that went to the BET Awards wearing a dress, bussy popping?
I don't know. I think he had on some trans colors at one point. So that I think he might have had a skirt on. I don't know. Y'all white supremacists be butt breaking brothers left and right, so we never know. But in your community, the church thing,
Yes, sir.
um, um, how does the church factor? I've always wanted to know in the suspected white supremacist community, you guys would actually plan your lynchings at church. What kind of God do y'all worship over there?
I have heard, like in Indiana back in the day, people used to go to church on Sundays and they'd have a Klan rally right after. Like it'd be straight from one place to another. Um,
Oh yeah, oh
I
yeah.
doubt that goes
You
on.
would y'all would that's where the lynchings would be planned. Y'all would give the church announcements like we're going to have a picnic, we're going to have a raffle, and we're going to be hanging a Negro Sunday at noon. So everybody come out. It was literally like that. That's where they would promote lynchings.
I don't think it was
So
just lynching. I think, well, you said that they would have like a cookout. So we would go to the black people's houses and take all their food and then have the cookout from that.
yeah, and then the black person would be the cookout, and you would cook them and lynch them, and many of you guys would even take their body parts somewhere, and then be up in church singing the very next week. So,
Well,
what kind of God do
we have to take your body parts because you're like so connected to the land that it's like root work for us.
Yeah, yeah, man. Go read the book, The Delectable Negro. It talks about how your community would eat black people. There's a whole book about it. Insane. But anyway, let me get out of here because it sounds like your mouth is watering and you're getting some garlic sauce ready for somebody.
I
So
have
let me get up.
tobacco in my mouth. I'm dipping right now. Sorry.
Okay. No, no, because you might be ready to saute some niggas. Sound like your mouth was watering. All right. Y'all, white supremacists are very freaky. Okay. Let's get Kendra Saxton. Let's get Kendra Saxton in here. Let's get Kendra. She's a small town conservative. Miss Kendra Sexton. I said Saxton, but it's actually Sexton. Kendra, Miss Kendra, you can turn your microphone on, ma'am. All right. Kendra,
Okay. Can you hear me
there
now?
you go. Yeah, I can hear you. How are you?
I'm well. Thank you for asking, and thank you, Tariq, for letting me speak. I have to make a couple comments on what Jeff was saying, and he doesn't appear to know his history too well. I am a small town Southern conservative now, but however, grew up in the great Miami Valley of Indiana and Ohio, and
Mm-hmm.
my heritage is Native American. And so if
Mm-hmm.
he had actually done his history lessons, he would know that the white people did not settle that land, that the Native American and the African Americans settled that land and were then kicked out of the land when it was stolen and sent to reservations in Oklahoma and in the Dakotas. So then they could then
Mm-hmm.
say they settled the land. So he needs to know his history. My dad's a member of the tribal council still in that area and still fights to try and get some of the land returned, which is an ongoing joke in Congress. So first off, he needs to get that part of his history lesson confirmed. Another part of the history lesson in that area is you are 100% correct, Tariq, that back in the day, the actual headquarters for the Ku Klux Klan was in Indiana. And
Mm-hmm.
when you say they would go to church and then make those decisions, that's exactly what they were doing. And they were doing
Mm-hmm.
it not just to the black community, but they were doing it to what Native Americans were left there also.
Mm-hmm. Yes, indeed.
So he
All
needs
right.
to really get his history lessons together and be spewing truth and not just euphemisms.
Yes, indeed. But thank you so much, Miss Kim. Thank you so much. Let's get Dion Jenkins. Dion Jenkins in here. What's going on, Dion Jenkins? Turn-
How you doing?
What's
So
going on, Dion?
yes, yes. So you have a very huge platform, right? And
Mm, Yeah.
what you have to understand is that right now you have the only reparations candidate running for president right now in Deion D. Jenkins 2024. So I think the people need to know that a reparations candidate who's for his people and back his people with a reparations package entitled Defense Money Land Grants. We don't need to vote for Trump. We don't need to vote for white candidates. We have too many of our own people from the grassroots who are trying to make sure that the message get out there. I talked to you before. The first time I've talked to you, I told you about the
Mm-hmm.
DMLG. Uh, you seem to have an issue with me because I said some things at a reparations task force hearing, and
Mm-hmm.
I also stuck up for a young lady in my city. But we got to put all that bullshit aside. Right now, we're trying to get reparations for our people. So I would appreciate it, my brother, if you could let the people know in a respectful way that we do have a candidate out here that's running. This is not about you or I. This is nothing personal. But we need to make sure that the people know that reparations is on the platform right now, and Dion D. Jenkins is leading that charge on the political level. I land.
But the problem is, okay, but the problem is, Dion, it kills the legitimacy of your argument when you engage in a lot of trollish behavior. And that's your problem. You do engage in a lot of very trollish behavior, and that's suspect to a lot of people because reparations is a very serious platform. It's a very serious narrative. And then when you mix it up with the bullshit, how do you think people are supposed to respond to that?
I think trolling is I think that's a subjective opinion because what you may feel as trolling, I might not feel as trolling. But because if we see opposite sides of the argument of certain principles, then if I am passionate and you're passionate on the opposite side, I might think you're trolling. The fact that you're putting Donald Trump, you're telling people to vote for Donald Trump, I think that's trolling, right? So I think we all have our opinions. Now, it doesn't take away from you as a man, right? But I would
Now, who
understand.
wait.
What's up?
Now,
Go ahead.
who told somebody to vote for Donald Trump?
Well, it seems like it's a little disingenuous because we both know. I know you know. You are a very articulate, intelligent young man, and I know you know that Donald Trump is not for reparations. He isn't talking nothing about black progress. He don't have no type
Hold
of
on,
agenda for our people,
hold
right?
on, hold on. No, no, no. You said I'm telling people to vote for Donald Trump. When did I even remotely say that? Come on, Dion. This is what I'm saying, bro. When did I even remotely tell anybody to vote for Donald Trump?
Okay, I apologize if I said that as a direct fact, right? I would rephrase that. It seems like you are alluding the people and you are um, giving, you are lightweight promoting him as a viable candidate for our people. You may not be giving an endorsement, a direct endorsement, but you are indirectly promoting Donald Trump, whether you know it or not. So I apologize if it came off as a direct statement.
But even in this conversation right here today, I said I'm not going to co-sign anybody, including Donald Trump, who's not giving any tangibles. I very specifically said that. It's not even anything indirect. I said this is the topic. The topic is, are more black people starting to support Trump? There's a lot of black people who are. I'm not supporting anybody, including Trump, unless there's something tangible. You can't get any more clear than that, brother. That's why, again, when you say something, you can't say something trollish. See, saying something that you know is not true, that's kind of trolling, brother.
Well, I came after the fact. I didn't hear you say that. I came
Got
in kind of late, so if you did say that, I apologize. But
got
I
it.
think
All
that's
right, brother.
besides. I think that's besides the matter.
Okay. Let me get Terrain. All right. Brother Terrain, how are you, sir? See, we got to be right and exact with stuff. See, when people just say stuff to be saying it, come on, man. That's the problem. Brother Terrain.
What's good, Tariq? How you doing?
I'm good, man. How are you, brother?
Maintaining, my man. I'm going to speak directly to the question: are more Black people starting to support Trump? I personally don't think that more Black people are starting to support Trump. I just think that more Black voters are just frustrated and they're tired of being pandered to and disrespected by the Democratic establishment. Um,
Right.
there's I'm in a lot of these spaces online and also with private conversations with people who work in political on political campaigns. And me, you, and other people who are concerned about the messaging that goes out to Black people and Black men in particular have told a lot of these people that you're not going to be able to pull some of the stuff that you did maybe 3, 4, 6, 7, or 8 years ago with the pop locking and the dancing and the electric slide and the
Yeah.
fish fries and the church visits and all that stuff, because the majority of Black people really in this country economically had their backs against the wall. They're literally living paycheck to paycheck if they're earning a paycheck, and they're living hand to
Yeah.
mouth. That's not the majority of us, but that's out there. And the people who craft a lot of this messaging are very wealthy or they're middle class and they're disconnected from Black people. And I'm talking about Black gatekeepers. And the white people who hire them are definitely disconnected and they only listen to the people around them. And the people around them do not know how the average Black person is living, or if they do, they're not crafting any sort of messaging or any sort of policy platforms for Black people. And thanks to social media and thanks to the fact that you can't really control a narrative anymore, a lot of Black people are speaking up and they're tired of this. And the people who are condescending to Black people will not listen. And I'm telling them, and I've told people this privately, that they're up for a very rude awakening in 2024. I think some Black people are going to gravitate to Trump just out of frustration and anger, but I think a lot of people are just going to give up completely and sit home.
Yeah. Yeah. Real talk, man. Thank you so much. I appreciate you, Brother Terrain. Let's get Michael in here. Michael, and then we're going to get Miss T after Michael. What's up, Michael?
What was good? So I just wanted to tell people that I've started this new group. It's called it's called the Trump Nasheed Disciples. It's TND for short.
Lord, man, y'all got to be witty. I keep telling y'all, listen, y'all got to work on your wit. Now, that would have been witty if you had been more creative with it. It's not witty enough. Michael, why don't you people have any kind of good wit? Y'all can't get a joke off or a good troll hit off to save your lives. Why is that, Michael? Michael, okay. Michael got up out of here. I didn't even take him off. He realized that his joke fell so flat. I mean, that wasn't even creative. You just wanted something to say. Listen, I'm going to have a group. It's called Trump Nasheed. eh, dude. Womp 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 womp. All right, Miss T, hop on, Miss T.
What's up, Tariq? How are you today?
I'm good, dear. How are you?
I am well. I am well. I am going to address your question, but I first wanted to say I think you should have Earth, Wind, and Fire open up the reparations rally and Mays close it out if you decide to do it.
Well, I like both groups, but Frankie Beverly, and I love Frankie Beverly. Frankie Beverly's vocals are, they're not where it really should be. And I'm not trying to
Well,
mess. I'm not
well,
trying to.
we don't let him sing. We sing for him whenever
I
he
know,
shows up to the
but
concert.
I don't want Frankie Beverly to fall out on my watch. That's my thing. He's and I love Frankie Beverly, but shit.
Oh,
But anyway,
yeah,
but
and
go ahead.
then you got to have Jill Scott do her in rendition of America the Beautiful. But
Mhm.
to address your question of the room, are more Black people starting to support Trump? I don't think that's the case, but I do know that we are watching and we're seeing that the Democrats are trying to replace us in all of our major Black cities with Hispanics, and these Hispanics can vote in local elections, right? So
Yeah,
they seem to be all in favor of just replacing us. So we see the play. This is an erasure. And for us to vote Democrat locally, that is a complete erasure of our voting bloc as the largest ethnic group in America.
yeah,
So we're not stupid. We see what they are doing, and our vote is for sale to the
yeah.
highest bidder. Who is going to give us some reparations? You're giving these Venezuelans carte blanche. They cannot be turned down for a loan. They
Yep.
don't have a credit score. They haven't been on the job for 2 years, but they can come over here and get a loan and have access to capital, be able to start a business, be able to buy a home, buy cars, and we're still saddled with debt from past mistakes.
Right.
So we see the play, and we see that if we vote for them, it's over for us.
Yep. Yes, indeed. Good
Thank
stuff.
you.
I appreciate it. But yeah, the sister hit it on, man. That credit thing, we really overlooked that. We overlook the credit incentives that they have. They can't be discriminated against because of their janky credit. That's one thing we miss. They got laws now where you can't discriminate against them. If their FICO score is janky, hey, you can't use that. You can't use their past credit against them. That's what a lot of people overlook, man. And sister was like, we need to get Earth, Wind, and Fire to open. Well, it depends on how much money we raise. Shit. Earth, Wind, and Fire, they cost a lot. Yeah, people be throwing out these names. Y'all need to get Jill Scott, get Earth, Wind, and Fire. Well, shit. Do we have some Earth, Wind, and Fire money? How much? It depends on how much we raise. Because we might only be able to defend the Earth and the Fire. We only can get that. We can only afford that. We might be able to afford just the wind, but I don't know if we can get all three. I think we got enough money for some wind, but the Earth and the Fire, we got to work on that. We don't have enough money for the Earth and the Fire. I think we can get Verdine White to come play the bass guitar solo. That's the best we can do right now with our budget. So we might have to look into some other acts. Somebody check on Cisco's schedule. See what his schedule is looking like for next year. And y'all see what if you can get Rob Base's manager's number, y'all give me Rob Base's number. Let's see if we can. I think we can afford Rob Base. All right. And DeVoe. We can't get Bell and Bill, but I think we can afford DeVoe. So let's check on DeVoe. We got enough money for DeVoe. All right. All right, let's get Marcel in here. Brother Marcel. I'm good, brother. How are
I'm
you?
doing good. How's your nephew coming along?
He's coming along good. He's making good progress with his recovery. Definitely. Thank you so much.
I'm glad to hear it. Well, let me answer your question. I do think more Black people are starting to support Trump. I There's been a poll that came out, and one of the states that's of particular interest to us is Georgia, which is a very, very black state, one of the top five blackest states in America. And it showed that there's been a over 22% of the black people who were polled expressed support for Trump, not necessarily the Republican Party for Trump. And I think a reason that it's happening, as has been mentioned already, is look at all of the money, billions, trillions of dollars on a state and local, state and national level being poured into these immigrant communities. And Black Americans, we're like, we get all this backlash reparations, and yet you got a president who say he will have our back and doesn't even mention it. That's one. Number two, I want to
Yeah.
mention something. We have to start looking at candidates based on their policy. If a candidate is green, it doesn't matter. If that candidate is talking things that will specifically benefit us, then that's what we need to consider when we're deciding whom we're going to support. Not whether they're black or white. Because I'm in a district that's been ruled, a black man has been over for 32 years now, and we're the sixth poorest district in America. So that's what happens when you just vote for someone because they're black. We got to look at policies, and I'll land there.
Thank you so much. Real talk, man. Real talk. That whole thing where, hey, here's a black person. Nah, that ain't cutting it no more. And man, that black person better come out the gate with a black agenda. I don't want to hear about no other black candidate who ain't got no black agenda. They put black folks in positions to basically splain. They put black people in positions to be the Negro whisperer, to basically explain why we can't get nothing. I'm not impressed. I just had an experience with that with the damn museum. They sent a damn black lieutenant down who's quote unquote from the neighborhood to talk about the vandalism, and they sent this Negro down. All he did was splain left and right. Well, there's a lot of gang activities around here. It could be anything. Man, the hell out of here, dude. But anyway, man, let me get up out of here. Let me get out of here. It's been real. We had a great conversation. Listen, go to rootworkstyle.com to get the Rootwork deodorant. We got some new scents available, and y'all got to get that because sometimes y'all get musty, and you do not need to be musty out here in these streets. It's holiday season where people get booed up. You can't be booed up and musty as hell. Men, women, get your deodorant on. We got a great new lavender scent that's absolutely phenomenal. It's absolutely phenomenal scent. And wintertime, y'all wear a lot of winter clothes. Ladies, y'all wear a lot of jumpsuits and cat suits. And a lot of times you put them coats over your cat suit and you musty and don't know it. And you don't realize it. And that must sit up on you all day. And then you end up getting used to it. And then you go try to lay down with a fella and he's smelling your musty side breast. And that's not a good look. He'll hit it one time. He's not going to want to hit it no more. So if you want some comeback, ladies, get that root work deodorant. Fellas, y'all need that root work too. Um, Sometimes, fellas, y'all you've been working in the backyard, and then you go run a few errands. You might lift some weights here and there, and you might not have hit them underarms like you needed to hit them. And now you're running around here smelling like a jackal. So, fellas, get your root work on. You need it. All right. Rootworkstyle.com. That's the website. All right, y'all. I'm out of here. Peace.